All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Also want to give double honors unto the apostle, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone. Blessings and salutations unto the Akim out there enduring this truth across the four corners of the earth, preaching and prophesying through the spirit of Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI for the elect's sake, as well as the men and women that follow, and those who might look like the other nation, but are of the nation of Israel on their father's side by blood. And I was looking for something to get into, and I ended up going into the devotion for today, or I believe it might be like the afternoon. Let me see. Yeah, the evening. This is the daily devotion for this evening. All right. And so I went in there, and then verse 6 had popped up. It says, if fire break out and catching thorns, so that the stacks of corn or the standing corn or the field be consumed therewith, he that kindleth the fire shall surely make restitution. So I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm like, it just had me thinking about the law, statutes, and commandments in general, and just how the Lord didn't just put things together. You know, he put things together for justice. He put things together for just reasons, and to have things done in a just manner. All right, it's not like, because then it had me thinking about in this society how, you know, the thief, don't get me wrong, you know, something should be done, but they let's say somebody go in and they steal, they get caught, they just send them to jail. You know, now, of course, we know that goes all with private ownership and private funding. When it comes to people being within a jail, it's more money that certain people make and everything. Some people might learn a lesson, but some people might not. But within the scriptures, it's like it said, restitution must be made. I'm going to go to 7 as well. It says, they're putting it on that person. It's not like, yes, you're being punished for what you did, but you're not necessarily paying that person back. That person still has a loss at the end of the day. You know, you breaking this, or you got to have home insurance, and you got to have all these other payments for all these other people to make to have a way to profit off of you having your things to be safe, you know, versus restitution being paid to that person by the thief himself. All right, like you go to verse 7, it says, if a man shall deliver unto his neighbor money or stuff to keep, and it be stolen out of the man's house, if the thief be found, let him pay double. Okay, so you have me hold on to something, somebody come and steal it. If the thief be found, then the thief has to pay double. All right, now I would have to kind of get into this a little bit more. I don't know if it's in the sense of, well, you know, you left it into my hands. It was up to you to leave it into my hands, and somebody else stole it. You know, I don't know what would happen, you know, with the person whose hands it ends. But at the end of the day, like if the thief wasn't found, you know, so I would have to get into that a little bit more. Salakia. Well, you go to verse 8. It says, if the thief be not found, then the master of the house shall be brought unto the judges to see whether he have put his hand unto his neighbor's goods. So yeah, you could blame it on somebody, you know, and then it would go before the judges, which is beautiful, because when it comes to the judges, these weren't just anybody's, right? These weren't just anybody's. It was at the able men. It was the priests of the Lord. It was the ones who the Lord was dealing with, you know, the Urim and the Thummim. It was a divine intervention in a sense, you know. This was YAHAWASHI having his spirit upon these people, that proper judgment can go out. It's not like somebody goes to law school for so many years, and they go to the law school for so many years, and then they, become a lawyer, or they become a judge, and they're paid off, they're bribed, they're bought out, all right? Or they're, I'm trying to think of the right word for it. They're corrupt. That's a beautiful word to put right there. They're corrupt judges, all right? Which, it'll tell you a little bit about that if you read Psalms 82. But their judgment is corrupted. It's not just, all right? Just depending on however they feel that day. Because I've been to court a couple times, and that's what it is. I've heard people say, man, better hope you got judge such and such, or this. And like, no, it shouldn't matter the judge you have if there's a justice system in place, all right? But if it depends on what judge you have, depending on the judgment you get, then that is not a just system at the end of the day. But like I was saying, it's beautiful with the Lord. When it comes to the Lord, he establishes order, right? Let me see. This is Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20. It says, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. It's like, it is what it is. It is what it's supposed to be. The guy who ran through town and murdered, he should get the judgment for a murderer. It's not like, oh, the judge is this and that today. How do we know what that judge is going through or what mood is affecting that judge? Let's say the judge, somebody broke into the house of the judge a couple nights before, and now somebody who broke into somebody else's house come before that judge. Well, they're going to have their personal emotions within that judgment, and that's not how YAHAWASHI works, man. All right, that's just not how he works. Okay, and that's not how his judgments work. Over time, the judges became corrupt due to them through misorder, for lack of better words, for things being put out of order. And that's exactly what this place is. That's why it's known as the valley in the shadow of death, all right? Because when you go to Job chapter 10 verse 22, right, I'm gonna go to 21, because ultimately when you read this, it's speaking about death. It's speaking about the place of no return. But that's what Babylon is. That's what America is, man. That's why you constantly got to watch over your shoulder. You got to lock your doors, lock your car, lock your house, lock your garage, put alarms up, ring cameras, carry a weapon, so on and so forth. All right, because there's no order in this place. Okay. This is Job 10 and 21. It says, before I go whence I shall not return, even to the land of darkness and the shadow of death, a land of darkness as darkness itself, and of the shadow of death, without any order, and where the light is as darkness. And that is this place without a doubt. There's no order in this place. All right. There's no order in this place. Everybody pretty much do what they want and how they want. They treat people how they want, because as the judge, so is the people. Okay, so within this place, just how Esau deals with things and deals with people and allow mischief and wicked wicked deeds and iniquities to be part of the foundation, so are the people, man. So if a person has a business, they'll get over on somebody as much as they can. If a person is selling a car. They're just in it to sell the car. They're not just in it to really help that person. And I'm not speaking about every single person, I'm speaking about the mindset of this place and the majority of people, Then you got to deal with interest rates and you got to deal with all of the extra taxes and things that just come with living. It's just to keep the rich rich and the poor poor at the end of the day. You might can get lucky and strike gold, but then you get that. Let's say you hit the jackpot, right? Well, you wasn't properly taught in the school, supposedly, how to properly manage money, how to properly invest money. All right, unless you ever select few. So therefore, you didn't hit the jackpot, didn't do nothing with it, and went broke. And people would say, "Oh, well, that's your fault. No." If we are supposedly a united nation, okay, everybody should have the same education. There shouldn't be this state and that state and this country and this county and this district and all. No, everybody should have the same education and the same opportunity. But that's not the case, because this is a place of no order. This is a place to keep the rich rich and the poor poor, man. Okay. So, at the end of the day, YAHAWASHI is going to establish order. Just, starting out with his law, statutes, commandments, they're going to be given to the other nations, okay, by the Israelites, man. It's chapter 2. Salakia. This is Isaiah chapter 2 and verse 2. It says, "And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it." Now that mountain represents a government, and the hills represents, smaller governments. All right. And it's speaking about the Lord's house being established at the top, meaning it's going to prevail above the rest. All right. "And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord Yahweh, to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Most High Yahweh from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall there learn war anymore." Which goes to show you that the people that's portraying to be the Israelites or the children of God or the ones who are over in that land cannot be the true people, because they're actually provoking war and involved in war and committing all type of atrocities to the people over there in Gaza and in Yemen, and but this here is saying people are going to learn of our ways, and people are going to beat their swords and the pruning hooks into working tools opposed to tools for war. Because after this third world war happened, there will be peace upon earth when the righteous are in rulership. Why? Because YAHAWASHI is going to establish that order once again, man. All right. Hey, so with that, Lord willing, you was edified, and Lord willing, we allowed to endure into the end. Once again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH, Shalom.